Hi, I'm Wes Burke. I'm the founder and CEO of Emerald Scientific. We're the premier distributor of scientific equipment and supplies in the cannabis industry and have been operating for nearly a decade now. Over the years, we've had the opportunity to collaborate with many of the brightest minds in cannabinoid science, and I've been lucky enough to speak on these topics all over the world, including across the US, Canada, Colombia, and Mexico. The acceptance of cannabis-based medicines have influenced the broad drug development process in several very fascinating ways. I'm teaming up with Jeff Keller, one of the most experienced scientists in drug development generally, and he is now the head of the largest THC-based clinical trial in history. In our fireside chat, we will tackle some fascinating topics, such as why out of more than 19,000 FDA-approved drugs, only 3 of them are botanical drugs, and how cannabis is flipping the script on the traditional drug development path, and what are the hurdles that cannabis and other botanicals face on this new path. We will also cover preclinical opportunities for cannabis and talk about how this can lead to label claim opportunities for cannabis producers. So for a little more background, I'd like to share a bit of information for context. In recent years, there's been a tremendous upsurge of interest and activity in developing cannabis-based therapeutics. Currently, there are over 500 cannabis-focused clinical trials in the US, with 54 of these trials utilizing Epidiolex, a CBD-based medicine approved for the treatment of a specific form of epilepsy. The robust pipeline of cannabis trials has originated from the success of creating Epidiolex, the expansion of medical cannabis programs to over 30 states, and the passage of the Federal Medical Marijuana and Cannabidiol Research Expansion Act, or MCREA. However, there are over 19,000 drugs that have been approved by the FDA, and between 30 to 40 new drugs are approved every year. But currently, only 2 of the FDA-approved drugs are botanical-based. Now, the FDA and the NIH, they've worked hard to increase the number of botanical drugs and botanically derived drugs by creating new divisions in the NIH, such as the Center for Complementary and Integrative Health, and providing guidance on botanical drug development. But despite this reality, only 39 of the currently listed 54,000 clinical trials in the US are focused on botanicals. So in our fireside chat, we will talk about these and other factors that will change the future of medicine. To introduce Jeff Keller, I've included a snippet from a recent podcast interview that he did, introducing himself and discussing a bit of his background.
My degree is in molecular cell biology, but I've been lucky enough to do every aspect of clinical trial work. So everything from the designing of drugs conceptually to preclinical drug development. That's where you use computer modeling, as well as cell culture, as well as mouse studies, rodent studies.
It was in vitro as well, right?
In vitro and in vivo, and then moved on to doing.
I know the big words.
There you go. Doing clinical work, and designing clinical trials, running clinical trials. Been NIH funded for 20 plus years continuously. Worked with all the major pharma groups, and so.
The NIH funding was in Louisiana.
No, been NIH funded my entire career. So
it's Kentucky and Louisiana.
Kentucky and Louisiana, and how I got into the cannabis space was one of the clinical trials that I'm a part of is called the Libby study, and your viewers, I'm sure, would really enjoy learning about that. It's a study that was started by Dr. Jacobo Mincer out of South Carolina. It's the largest THC clinical trial in the United States, and it was centered based on the benefits that an individual who was dying, that Dr. Mincer knew had benefits from THC use during their life's journey, and he was able to get this 15-site NIH-funded trial for THC for the treatment of agitation in hospice-eligible dementia patients. That's a lot of words, but
Thanks for taking the time to watch our video. If you have any questions about the presentation, please reach out to wes@emeraldscientific.com. We hope you'll find our proposal compelling. We certainly believe this information well worth sharing with broad and diverse audiences. Thank you.